What's going on, guys? So this is a day in the life of me using the iPhone 16 Pro Max. This video should have came out a while ago. Judging by the date, you can see it was recorded back in October 2nd, and there are some reasons why I haven't posted it, which I'll get into later in the video. But the battery is sitting at 100% and the time is 8:03. We have to do tradition and check the top comment of the day, and this is actually when YouTube was going through its name bot in the comment section. So the first legitimate one is they fixed it. You know what else has been fixed on this channel? Our sponsor, which is actually legitimate this time. It's nobody. Just like most of my videos, I always try to go on a run, and this is to test the Bluetooth capability with earbuds and then also with a smartwatch as well while listening to stream services. So the music choice of today is Leave Me Alone by Michael Jackson. So I'm not entirely sure what Apple Watch this is, but just going to do a quick 5K this morning. So the 5K is over, and this is still when it was, a little bit of the fall weather, and it was a bit rainy, and I wanted to test out the camera where I was running. So as you can see here, zooming in with the 16 Pro Max, there's a deer. I don't know if you guys can see that with all the foliage there, but just going to do a quick pan just to see how the stabilization is. Overall, pretty good. So this is the front-facing camera on the 16 Pro Max. I don't think it's a secret. This is the top-end phone of an iPhone, and the front-facing camera is really good, especially when it comes to the portrait side of things. As you can see, the background is blurred pretty well while keeping me in focus, and I think guys are going to be impressed with the next photo as well. So I'm taking a portrait mode on the iPhone. This is the back camera in landscape mode, so overall I'd say it's pretty good. Bit artificial towards the edges, but overall I'd say a lot of people would be satisfied. So the battery is sitting at 94% after doing my morning run and just general camera testing with the device at 8:54. I would say that is a pretty strong start to any iPhone that I've used, because I was using the camera hooked up to my Apple Watch, my earbuds, as well as listening to music on both YouTube Music and Apple Music. So pretty strong start by the iPhone. And now I'm just editing the video that I need to make for the iPhone 16 day in the life. But let me talk a little bit more about the 16 Pro Max. So compared to the 15 Pro Max, it is a larger device. Even though it is larger, it's still very comfortable to hold in the hand. After the 14 Pro Max, it seems like Apple has made a different design choice for the 15 and above series, where it's just a lot slimmer and more comfortable to hold in the hand. We have a faster processor, of course, but the camera is also a little bit different because it's using that Fusion camera. Overall, I would say that a lot of people probably might not notice, but generally speaking, this is a better camera system than the 15 Pro Max. You also have that camera control on the side, but all in all, I would say it's really not that big of a difference compared to the 15 Pro Max. I would say to just skip this out, but if you are in the iPhone upgrade program every single year, I mean, why not? I'm still personally on the iPhone 13 Pro, still have no reason to upgrade from that personal device that I have, but the 16 Pro Max is a fantastic device so far. All right, so juggling between work and YouTube, the battery is sitting at 89%. As you can see, I'm on 5G, and all my smartphone tests, I always try to shy away from using Wi-Fi just to give a more real world example of, people who do leave to go to work, they're not always on Wi-Fi. But it's 10:25 and we're going to do another jump in the future because I am working. So it's a little bit afternoon and the battery is sitting at 85%, still on 5G, which I will mention later in the video because that is a pretty important part of why this video got delayed. But need to do some laundry. It's starting to get a little bit crazy, as you can see from the quick zoom out on the ultra wide lens. So let's go do some laundry real quick. So laundry's in the basement. I do have to pay, it's like $1 with some quarters, but it gets the job done. So let's just go ahead and load up the laundry. All right, so the time is now 12:30, so it's still part of my lunch, and the battery's sitting at 83%. And this is around the time where I was doing my whole NAS setup, and I'm trying to find cheap Blu-rays and 4K videos. So I saw this dollar video place, but my sights were already set on this Goodwill that I've never been to before. Goodwill has served me pretty well in the past, so that's the reason why I decided to check out this location. So when I first walked in, I saw this Muhammad Ali poster, and I've got to say, looking pretty good, but $25 might have to pass. But just if you've never been to Goodwill, it's pretty much just like a donation store where people just donate stuff. Overall, I think they have some pretty unique stuff. I'd say it's dependent. They have this Tokyo Ghoul box set for $30. Never watched Tokyo Ghoul, so I had no interest, but some people in the comments might go crazy for that. But yeah, found the DVD collection. Honestly, not terrible. It does have some old classics, especially when it comes to the cartoon series, as you can see there as I'm panning over and zoom in to Lion King. What an amazing movie. Next to Wall-E, too. I never really understood the Harry Potter craze back in the day, probably because I didn't really read books, but hey, someone gave away their collection of Harry Potter, so if you're interested in getting that, it's at Goodwill. I also noticed they have this entire comic book section. I'm not that big on comics, but it's always nice seeing a lot of quote-unquote vintage stuff, so I thought that was pretty cool to include in the video. And as you can see here, I mean, I don't know any of these comics, but someone had to donate them. So House of Slaughter seems to be pretty popular. Here's just After School one, Beware of the Eye of Odin. But yeah, seems like a pretty good stash. And then I finally found the Blu-ray collection, and as usual, it's pretty small. But did find the X-Men, which I'd say is a pretty good series, but decided to pass. And as you can see here, this is an entire, once again, collection of Harry Potter, but it's regular DVD, so I'd pass. So battery sitting at 19% on the Tesla, so I do got to charge it up real quick. So the battery on the phone is at 78%, it's 105, and currently doing a quick charge on the Tesla. So once that's charged up, we'll go back home, finish up the laundry, go back to work, and we'll talk a little bit more about why I kind of hesitated on posting this video. By the way, stopped in the grocery store and found some spicy fried chicken, so, I had to cop it. So after devouring that chicken, I had a whole bunch of pieces there, but I just decided to leave one for dinner. But wrapping up work here for the rest of the day, this is where I want to talk a little bit more about the issues I had with the iPhone 16 Pro Max, because, I want to be fair, even though I do talk about the complaints I have on Android, there are complaints that I have with the Apple iPhones as well. So the 16 Pro Max, for some reason, the cell service just completely stopped working. I turned it off, I reset the phone, I did multiple things, but it was just stuck on SOS. And I didn't want to use Wi-Fi for the rest of the video because I think it's a kind of a real world scenario where for some reason the cell service just doesn't want to work. So as you can see here, the cell service is on. I do have roaming, do have 5G, allow more data on 5G, and I've tried everything to get this back, even contacted T-Mobile, and they said that it's something with them as well as it might be something with my phone. So I turned it off, turned it back on. As you can see, the battery's at 73% at 313, and once I enter in my code, you'll see that it's still showing SOS. So there's nothing that I can do. As you can see, I can connect to Wi-Fi, which is fine. But when it comes to, using the device as if I was, not home and not near Wi-Fi, I don't have service at all, which is a big problem. So I don't know, because if I swapped to a different phone, I had no issues having cell service. It was just the 16 Pro Max that was giving me issues. So that's why I was a bit hesitant on posting this video, because in one hand, it doesn't seem fair to showcase this phone in a day in a life where it stops working. But at the same time, I think it's also fair for people to see that there might be some cellular issues when it comes to the 16 Pro Max. I usually give this stuff a pass at like the first month of a smartphone launch, just because there are software updates that might fix a lot of these issues, like, a 0.01 update that needs to happen on the major OS. But just want to showcase this here, and the battery's at I believe 67% at 414, and I talk a little bit more in the video here. All right, what's going on, guys? So I really have no idea what's going on with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. I'm going to still post this day in the life just so you guys can see what I've been doing up until now. But to be honest, it's been a pretty busy day at work. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to show you guys a lot of stuff. But I don't know why the 5G just decided to turn itself off. This is like probably the second time this has ever happened to me when it comes to an iPhone, and it's much harder to debug an issue with eSIM rather than physical SIM. So I guess we're just going to call it, and I'll have to post a future day in the life with the 16 Pro Max where it has a full day using the cell service. I know some people say I should just use Wi-Fi, but I feel as though Wi-Fi, if you're on Wi-Fi all the time, just expect your battery life to be better. 5G or just using your cell connection is going to drain the battery more and gives a better real world, I use that in loose quotes, example of how the battery would fare if you didn't have Wi-Fi all the time, which I think most people can to some degree agree with because they're not at home all the time. So don't know what happened. I've restarted the phone multiple times. It's still showing SOS. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Really unfortunate that this had to happen, but hopefully it can get fixed in the future. I might take it to Apple. Maybe I should do a future video on this where I'm, going with Apple, contacting them if things going wrong with the device, see if they can figure out any issue. But at this point, I'm rambling. So appreciate every single stuff I can comment. And as always, guys, much love. Sorry. Truly am sorry.